Chapter 15. Lou sat in the front room of Francis, the neighbour of the house where they had hoped to find Ken Lazarus. Francis was still tentative, looking at Lou like he was an intruder rather than someone who just wanted to talk. But talk they would. Lou wasn't going to let things happen any other way. "You said that he gets a lot of visitors." Lou started with a cup of tea in one hand and a saucer of biscuits in the other. Francis explained that he had just put the kettle on and insisted that he make any guest a cuppa. It just wasn't right any other way. Lou looked around, trying to find somewhere safe to put the saucer of biscuits. There was nowhere evident, and the sofa arm right next to him looked like it had been taken care of to the nth degree. "He has people there dropping by at all times of the day and night. Some come and go, probably thinking they haven't been spotted. But I know everything that goes on. The walls are far too thin to keep any secrets from a neighbour here." "And are there secrets that he wouldn't want you to know?" "Oh, yes, there are plenty of those. He thinks he's being clever, but we all do when we're not being caught, don't we, detective?" "I suppose. I don't really do anything that I need to keep a secret from the rest of the world. It's kind of par for the course in my job." "Are you telling me that everyone who works for the police is squeaky clean? Because I don't believe that for 1 second. "Oh, good point. Well made, Francis. I know just what you mean. It's like the gambler who feels invincible after a few wins. He doesn't accept that he will lose eventually, and in the end, we're all caught out." "So, the same goes with me neighbour, Mr. Lazarus. His post sometimes ends up through me door. That's the only way I know his name. Aside from that, he tries to keep himself to himself, as far as this neighbourhood goes. But we're all aware of what he is. People arriving in a car out the front, only for him to go out and speak through the passenger window. It all looks pretty innocuous, doesn't it? But I wasn't born yesterday. Even with these eyes that have been through 3 operations for cataracts and a detached retina, I can see him pick up something from the armrest and throw something into the car. Not as clever as he thinks. These visitors come regularly, so I guess he makes good money from it. I don't like it, but I can't put myself in danger. My grandkids visit me twice a week on their way back from school. I can't put them in a position where they get caught up in this business. As long as those visitors come and go quickly, I suppose that's as much as I can ask for." Francis spoke with clarity. Lou loved the way the older generation spoke. They had been schooled, brutally at times, to ensure that they spoke and wrote in what was referred to as the King's English at the time. It still had that unmistakable Washington twang, but was as clear as day. "And has he had any visitors today?" Lou asked. "There's only been one. It was about an hour before you two arrived at the door. The man stayed for around 10 minutes. There were heated voices. I suspect that he owes the guy something. It was that kind of conversation." "Are there many of those conversations?" Lou prompted Francis to continue. "Quite a few, but not usually with this man. He rarely pops by, and then only for a minute at a time, not even entering the property. This is the first time he has walked through the front door for quite a while, and definitely the longest he has ever stayed. Drives a flash car, too." Francis tried to remember all the information he had. It seemed from the manner of the detective that this visit was important. Lou munched a bourbon biscuit, savouring the taste. It wasn't quite his favourite, especially when he had to eat it properly, but was high on his top 10. Bourbons and custard creams were best eaten alone, as far as Lou was concerned. He could bite the biscuit off the top, nibble his way around the edge, leaving only the cream filling and a piece of biscuit the size of the cream filling. Then he would happily eat the remaining biscuit, engrossing himself in every mouthful. It wasn't quite a chocolate hobnob, his favourite, but wasn't that far behind. Lou took the opportunity to take his time over the next sentence. Mouthful after mouthful of biscuit gave him the chance to watch the expression on the face of Francis. It was as though he was searching for a final piece of information, one that was useful but was evading all attempts to be brought back to the fore of his mind. Lou looked intently, hoping as much as Francis that the detail would reappear. "It's French," Francis offered. "What, the car?" Lou inquired. "No, they don't make flash cars, do they? Not the car. There is something French to do with this visitor. The clothes look distinctly British, the car German, but there is a link to something about France. Can't quite bring it to mind." Both men paused for a few seconds. Lou was never any good at games like this. Charades passed him by. The thoughts that were obviously clear in the mind of the person acting out the charade made no sense at all to him. They would plead with him to say what they were thinking and performing. He had no idea whatsoever what they were telling him. Not the wrong idea. No idea came to his mind at all. Blank looks all round. He would wait as long as it took. "The name, Lazarus, kept calling the guy by a French name." "A French name?" Lou asked, still perplexed. He was much better with words than he was reading expressions. "Yes, that's it," Francis exclaimed. "Now I just have to remember what that name was. Is it important?" "Is it Pierre?" Lou responded. A question with a question. It wasn't what he had been trained to do, but it felt too much of a coincidence that he had heard a French name earlier, and now someone was trying to recall another right in front of him at that moment. "Yes, Pierre," Francis responded. As Lou left Francis's house, he spotted a part of the bush between the neighbours that had been pushed in. Lou reached his hand inside and saw a wrap toolkit, the kind his uncle used when Lou was young. He unrolled the toolkit and looked at the contents, all screwdrivers. There were 6 spaces in total, but only 5 screwdrivers present.